Welcome to Agriculture Here and Now. My host Zadie Newfield and myself are going to be looking at this frosty pod. It's been around for about 250 years. It took its time to get here, but it's here. And the cocoa people are very, very, very wary of it because it doesn't go, right?
Doesn't go. It stays, and we just have to learn to manage as we do everything else.
Well, in that regard, we're going to be talking to, Zadie is going to be talking to Mr. Errol Williamson of the Central Fermentary, the
In
Cocoa
Richmond.
Board in Richmond.
Yes.
You like Richmond?
Oh, yeah. Richmond is a lovely place. It's a place you want to hang out all
Take
day.
you and leave you there. And then we're going to look at a chocolate operation, a mini one, because that's another story, Zadie, that we're going to do.
Yes. It's the next step. Where do we go? We plant, but then we have to produce something from it because that is the value added product.
Integration.
Yes.
But that's another story. Today, we're looking at Frosty Pod. You're going to talk to Mr. Williamson. I'm going to talk to Roger Turner of Tullow Estates. And we should, at the end of it, get a fair picture.
Of what frosty pod rot, that's the name of the disease, is doing or likely or could do to our really young cocoa industry. Because I say young, not because it is new, but because we've had so many challenges.
And it's just about willing to come again.
Exactly.
Back in a moment for that interview with Zadie and Mr. Williamson.
So we're here with Mr. Errol Williamson. He's the fermentary manager at the Richmond Cocoa Fermentary. Good afternoon, Mr. Williamson.
Good
How are you
afternoon.
doing?
Thank you for having me.
Right. So we're talking about the frosty pod rot
Yes.
on the cocoa.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about the disease.
Well, the disease, it has been around from 1817, it's found in Colombia. Well, after 250 years, it had finally reached us. And we have first observed it in Clarendon, which so far it has had a devastating effect on the production down there. It's basically centralized around the Cookie River, Braehead, Chowtal, and Morgan's Pass, all that belt, central Clarendon.
Okay.
Right. And we have seen from survey that in some cases up to 60 to 80% damage to pods.
Of the fields?
Of the pods.
Oh, okay.
What frosty pod do, it affects, it's never to the pods, it's only host specific. It affects just the cocoa pod from all the stages. It's actually a fungal disease, Monolinea phytoria, and it affects the pod from all stages, and it can have a devastating effect. It can damage up to 80% of the farmer's production.
Okay, so that's really hard
serious.
hit for...
Hard hit.
What are you doing to arrest the spread?
Well, when we first reported to the Ministry of Agriculture, Research and Department and the Quarantine Department in August, in September we had collect sample and send it to CABI, where it was confirmed, international lab, it was confirmed that it's indeed frosty pod. And since then we have been having sensitization meetings with farmers. We had over 28 sensitized of those meetings all around in Clarendon, St. Mary, St. Andrew, and St. Catherine, where we sensitize farmers. We have been pamphlets, some pest alert, frosty pod pamphlet alert. We have posted them at strategical point all over the communities. And we have had 2 mass meetings with farmers, one in St. Mary and one in Clarendon at the fermentary, where we have over 150 farmers present at each. Since then, we have embarked on a program of stripping, advise the farmers on stripping to remove all the damaged pods. And we have solicited a site in Clarendon, central disposal site, where we dug a large hole, and we have distributed the board have provided some bags,
Okay.
seal bags, where we advise the farmers to do the stripping and seal them, and they are collected by a truck that we had retrofitted for the purpose and dump in the central location, central dumping
So
site.
all these
that
precautions with the bags and the
Yeah,
burying and
right,
stuff,
right.
it's to prevent.
Prevent further spread of the disease.
Oh, okay.
But what Frostipod is in for the long run.
Okay.
So we are in the long-term planning now, which can entail a number of the management practices, the cultural practices, the pruning,
Right.
field sanitation, weed and shade management, and all these things. We are in a program where we devising a budget, which has been sent to the Ministry of Agriculture now,
Right.
for waiting on approval, and I think that will be done shortly, where it entails that we motor vehicle employment, more officers.
How much you thinking in terms of managing this disease?
It's about 100 million for 3 years.
Wow, that
It's a lot
much.
of money, yes.
Yes, but I've heard that there are some plants that are resistant.
Yes, the studies have found that the ICS 95, which is Imperial College Selection
Right.
from the Trinidad varieties, have certain amount of resistance to the disease. Luckily for us, we have been producing most of those seedlings at our nursery here in Richmond.
Right.
And so we have been asking farmers to come and get seedlings, and they can start a program of underplanting,
Right.
where they will plant those resistant varieties. And later on, when they come, they remove the older trees.
Okay, so if they start replanting now,
No,
they should be able
5
to
years' time, they will
right
back to where they were.
and remove the old.
Old trees
Right.
that are susceptible to the
Okay,
disease.
so is it that one variety that is resistant?
No, you have some Certi, that is the Costa Rican varieties.
Right.
But I think discussion have been going on with the assistant of Dr. Johnson from the ICA to see how we can get in some plants to start to propagate those seedlings. But discussion is ongoing.
Right.
Also, there's a spraying program that is lined up too, that we carry out a chemical control program. So far, we have acquired some equipment and trained some manpower
Right.
to do that. So it's a sequence. Once one activity is complete, the stripping,
Right.
then we move on to the spraying.
Yes.
And then the long term will take over the pruning, shade management, what in fact, is a fungal disease.
Yes.
So if we can reduce the humidity in the fields
Right.
by pruning, shade management, trenches, and weed control, we can reduce the effect of the frostipod by about 30–40%.
Okay. So what can you tell us about field management? Because I've heard that if farmers are vigilant, they can minimize the spread.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
talk to me a little bit about that.
Exactly. If farmers are vigilant and keep their farms in a proper maintained condition, they can reduce the effect of the frostipod by, as I mentioned to you, probably 60–70%. Because we won't be able to eradicate it totally, but we can keep it at a manageable level.
Yes.
And we're looking at between 15–20%. That will be acceptable. All right. What the farmers can do, that they can prune, that is reduce, allow sunlight to come into the field and aeration in terms of the field. Keep the weeds clean, reduce the shade so as to prevent this build up of humidity, because as a fungal disease, this is what it thrives on.
Okay.
And be vigilant in terms of reaping all the affected pods.
Right.
And dispose of it in a proper way. That you can solarize it, put it in black scandal bag, plastic bag, put it in the sun for 2 weeks, and you take care of it. Or you can make a compost heap and add in some lime, calcium hydroxide, or some urea, and spread it on it. That will help you to diffuse the growth of the fungus.
Mr. Williamson, thank you very much. We have learned a lot today.
You're welcome.
That was Mr. Errol Williamson from the Richmond Cocoa Fermentary in St. Mary. When we come back, we're going to visit one of our local chocolatiers.
Jamaica Gold, Jamaica's finest brown sugar, nature's energy food.
My name is Helen French, and originally, as you may, some people will guess, from Uganda, but I met my husband and we came down here. When we came in here, really, we saw cocoa was everywhere, and we're like, chocolate is like everybody's love, and we really didn't see there was a company processing chocolate bars or cocoa products as that. So we decided to just make chocolates for ourselves and friends, just to try. It was really more of a hobby thing. It wasn't a business at all. But afterwards, people kept telling us, come on, give us some products in the store. People love it. Like that. So now I went to the Bryson Center and turned out to be a business. So now we're in for it, as they say, and looking forward to grow the Jamaican cocoa industry. Not just as the exporters of cocoa, but we want Jamaica to be, it's already a tourist hub, and cocoa is one of, chocolate making and cocoa products are one of those products really for tourism. So I think we can add something to the tourism sector, and we're looking forward to that, and also looking to put Jamaican cocoa in the map. Each product from our line is really inspired by customers. We've not developed a product. What we really want is a customer saying, oh, I saw this, can you try this product for us? And when we produce it, everybody loves it. So most of them have been inspired by our customers. Initially, we had the chocolate bars. We developed the chili, basically Jamaican. We wanted the Jamaican flavors, more Caribbean, because we have different flavors everywhere, but we really want our products to speak Jamaica, the Caribbean, something like that. So we got the sea salt because we are next to the sea. We said we can't miss out the sea salt. The cinnamon is a lovely spice. Chili is a part of the Caribbean, part of Jamaican cooking and everything, so we developed that. We have the cocoa nibs, which is really loved by health eaters mainly. But it's a product which is making its way to every person's dining table, because you can add it in your cereal in the morning, you can add it in your ice cream. No more guilt. I say, oh, and I don't want ice cream, it's not healthy. So this will give you a bit of a boost in there. The cocoa nibs are good for cooking, baking. Also, you can get some cakes, baked cookies, and something lovely. And the powder, in Jamaica, people love chocolate tea. But also we have reviews of chocolate tea. Some people say, oh, I loved chocolate tea when I was young, but when I grow up, I don't want the oil on top and things like that. And then the cocoa butter, because cocoa butter, we decided to pack it this way. Most people are accustomed to cocoa butter as a cosmetic product. But really, cocoa butter can be used for cooking. It's really delicious with oxtail, a little bit, just everything. This is another product which has really been inspired by so many people. Everybody wants gifting, and they say, oh, the two-ounce bar, you get it in the shop, right? But this Christmas, this is what the customers want. They want to have different flavors of our products in small sizes. So they can pack it in small bags, like, if I to show. This has been really one of the, you can pack them in small bags and just put them in, and easy gifting, right? This has gone. And you can also wrap it as a package for Christmas for your friends or office. That next year is even going to be more. Our production is still catching up, and it's good. This Christmas is really fantastic. Every product, every day we work day in, day out, really try to stretch and make sure that everybody has something for Christmas. And we're excited. And in Jamaica, we have inquiries from outside, but right now we can't really even get in there. We're looking at the Jamaican customer. Most people tell us, why don't you export straight? But I'm like, yes, we can export, but this product is also good for domestic. Jamaicans need quality products. Jamaicans need healthy products equally. So let's first feed Jamaicans as well. Frosted pod rot disease really is affecting farmers in that you can't really move freely. So this, because everybody fears you can travel to a farm and carry it to your farm. That's how tricky it is. So the whole thing is about movement now. And given that it's the other side of the island, we're trying, now we have people we're talking to, trying to develop them to get organic. It's something which is limiting us, and organic is one of those areas where things spread because we're not using any chemicals to try to control it. So we have to use natural mechanisms. So we have to keep to ourselves kind of, and it's affecting farmers. It's also on the bigger scale. Farmers who have had their crops June, August, end of crop picking cannot really sell. See, so this, if you have it in your farm, you'll have to lose the whole farm produce, and that's a loss to a cocoa farmer. See, so that's what is in. But we're hoping, we're optimistic that the government is really doing a lot to advise people, to let people know how to deal with it, and so it's hopeful. We're hopeful by 2017 we'll be free.
Farmers, visit your nearest farm store distributor or contact Newport Fersan for special fertilizer blends to suit your individual needs. Telephone 967-5561 or 967-5815. Newport Fersan for all your fertilizer needs. Buy Jamaican, build Jamaica.
Welcome back. When we talk about agriculture here and now, I think Roger Turner is a good reference because he's here and now, but there is a long tradition behind the Turner family here and Tulla Estates itself. That's another story. Right now, we're talking to Roger because he has pure stand cocoa, which is unusual enough, but also important in as much as a private farmer and what are his concerns regarding the frosty pod. Hi, Roger.
Hello, Alan. How are you?
I'm good, but tell me, first of all, right off, frosty pod, are you concerned?
Yes, frosty pod is one of three major diseases in cocoa. Mm-hmm. Black pod is the #1 killer of cocoa pods around the world. Frosty pod rot comes second, and the witch's broom is the third most important. That is also in our immediate area, but is not yet resident in Jamaica.
Okay.
So we have now got the second disease, or major disease of cocoa, and we are engaging in the cultural practices and husbandry practices to control it.
Now, when you talk about in the region, I don't want to go there yet, but I remember the citrus situation where you could see it progressing till it came here. Mm-hmm. But now we have frosty pod here. Mm-hmm. And in fact, we know there is an official approach to it. As a private farmer, what is your approach to it?
To engage in good consultancy, and that has taken place. There are two ways to control the disease. One is a use of chemicals and fungicides, and the other is through cultural practices of handling the pods. Mm-hmm. Because frosty pod rot is specific to the pod and will not grow on any other medium, the soil, the leaves, the branches.
Yes.
It is this unique feature of its habitat that allows you to control it well. So when the frosty pod invades the pod and changes the shape of it, so this is a normal shaped pod here. Yes. Yes. The frosty pod rot, before the white frost of spores comes on it, will be malformed.
Yes.
You take it off and bury it, you will arrest the life cycle of the pod, of the fungus in the pod. Mm-hmm. And so whilst you can take off the malformed pods and bury them, you keep the disease at bay.
And you bury it in the,
In the ground.
immediate area.
Well,
You don't take it outside of the area.
you don't want to spread it
No,
around.
okay.
If by chance the spores do appear on the misshapen pods and the white frost appears, that means that you now have the spores in your field,
Yes.
other than being blown in from outside. Then you have to change your husbandry from being pluck and bury. You do that anyway. But you'd engage in a chemical fungicide program to kill all the spores that have invaded your field.
Yeah.
And you would engage in that program for 90 days,
Yes.
which is a life cycle of the spore.
Oh, you, for instance, in this pure stand field of cocoa, you would have to spray all of it, or you would identify an area and then watch to see if it appears elsewhere. How would you go about it?
Where you
I'm
find,
not wishing it on you,
No, no.
but
where you find the pod,
yes.
you do a 1 kilometer radius.
Okay.
So
okay.
2 kilometers in all.
What sort of cocktail would you contemplate using? Because you haven't had to do it yet.
No, no.